We take time off from the affairs of men to turn our gaze to the affairs of animals. In the animal kingdom, they don't seem to need us humans at all. If they have a need, it is to be left alone, to pursue their own instincts, their variegated cycles of life. But we need them, not for their furs and their flesh and their horns. We need them to preserve nature's balance, and we need them for our aesthetic pleasure. A world without animals would be a barren world indeed. Pakistan's shores are lapped by the Arabian Sea. If you stand on the Pakistani coast, just north of the Tropic of Cancer, and look due south, there's nothing but water all the way to Antarctica. That's a lot of ocean, and it's home to a lot of life. And you don't have to journey far out to sea to encounter it. The crab's calypso is as neat a thing as you'll see anywhere. The turtle, so painfully ponderous on land, is an inveterate traveler in the sea. She favors only a few sandy beaches as her nesting grounds and travels thousands of kilometers to reach them. One of these is the beaches of Karachi. The green turtle lays as many as 100 eggs together. She covers them over with sand, and there they lie for 40 to 60 days, warmed by the sun until they hatch. At this point, nature has not determined their sex. Whether they emerge as male or female turtles will depend on the ambient temperature at which each one hatches. The mother turtle, exhausted by 5 hours of labor, makes her weary way back to the sea. Meanwhile, for the male, the sandy beaches carry no allure at all. He is content to spend his entire age, perhaps 100 years, cavorting in the sea. But the turtle's habitat is the sea. On land, he is easy prey and desperately in need of protection if he is not soon to become extinct. Of these 100 or so little hatchlings, a bare 1% are destined to survive the perils of infancy. As soon as they hatch, instinct directs them towards the sea. The distance they must traverse is a bare 15 meters, yet it is the longest journey they will ever undertake. Their enemies are hawks and kites and dogs and jackals and, as always, man himself. Even for those that survive these few meters on land, perils await them in the sea during the early years of their life. Predatory fish and sharks, which look on the turtle as a particularly tasty morsel. Marine life in the tropics is awash with color, and the colors are as exotic as the species. A short distance north from the coast, river and lake, forest and desert vie with each other for supremacy, and life is as various as the landscape. Various and wild. Here, man is not the only predator, and yet, across time, a myriad species have survived. The Great Lakes of Sindh and the fertile lands they nourish are hospitable environs for beast and bird. For the naturalist, this is the perfect laboratory. Here and there, it seems very much as though evolutionary time has stood still to enable us humans to indulge our curiosity and peep into life's origins. Here in the south, the geography is abrupt, and the desert begins at the very edge of field and forest. The desert snake is a poisonous creature. Through history, the snake has figured prominently in folk tales, legend, and primitive religion. And the snake charmer is as well known around the world as the man who is said to perform the rope trick, and far more real. A change of scene, and we encounter another legendary reptile, the crocodile. He too, like the turtle, has evolved little through the ages, but in our own times, he begins to look a forlorn creature, and left to his own devices may not endure. The rivers no longer yield him easy sustenance, and the rapacity of man may prove to be the final blow. Great rivers flow through the land, and the greatest of these is the Indus. The boat people of the Indus are a fascinating study. They are born on the water and more at home on it than on dry land. One of the most specialized of the world's freshwater creatures is the Indus dolphin, Platanista indi. Its home is the silt-laden and turbid waters of the river Indus, in which visibility is no more than 2 to 4 centimeters. The Indus dolphin's eye has fallen victim to this opaque environment. It has no lens. The dolphin emits a series of high-frequency clicks, and from the echoes, it discerns its environment. The craggy hills of southern Baluchistan and Sindh, seemingly inhospitable, are home to the Sindh ibex, a handsome specimen of wild goat. His horns can describe an arc of 270 degrees and grow to spectacular lengths in excess of 107 centimeters. The Sind ibex are gregarious creatures and congregate in herds. Disturb them and they display their unbelievable acrobatic skill. They can turn full circle virtually on a point. They can make a standing leap almost 2 meters upwards onto a seemingly vertical rock surface, then careen off onto yet another vertical rock. Alas, they are now an endangered species. The hog deer, with head held low, is a solitary creature. A strikingly handsome fellow is the black buck, of graceful build, with long and spirally twisted horns. This proud antelope is quite at home in the scorching summer sun and scorns drinking water even when it is available. The black buck's eyesight is keener than his sense of smell or hearing, and few animals are capable of greater speed and endurance. Disturb them and they start off with spectacular leaps, as long as 7 meters. Presently, they settle into a steady gallop and can travel 25 kilometers without tiring at speeds up to 70 kilometers an hour. There's a Baluchi saying that if you come across a herd of stray camels in the desert, you can be sure you are lost. If it's wild asses you spot, you are close to a watering hole. The desert cat is a resourceful creature and has a known predilection for raiding domestic poultry pens. The Chinkara gazelle is a graceful little animal that roams widely and can go for days without drinking, and it can run. On open ground, a Chinkara has been clocked at 72 kilometers per hour. Houbara bustard, endangered species. This is an elegant bird of ancient origin. In this age of binoculars and motorized transport, it is also a rather dumb bird. Sensing danger, it does not fly away but lies motionless on the ground, neck stretched out, yellow eyes unblinking. This is fine against other birds of prey, but not very effective against a man with a gun. Still, there's other fish in the sea, says the hawk, perched high and watchful. Presently, he spots an unsuspecting partridge, and the hunt is on. A hawk in action is surely a thing of beauty, though it's not a pleasant sight if your sympathies are with the tinier bird. Sand grouse, chakor, brown partridge, the tiny sisi, all are favorite game birds of both hawks and humans. Wherever there's a field full of inviting seeds, there will you spot the handsomest of them all, the black partridge. The pheasants are a large family with colorful cousins resident in many countries. They are not a long-range